Alright guys, so it has been a little while since my last video. I apologize for that. You've probably seen some changes, even some changes in the studio here. But my camera gear setup has also been changing a lot. And if you follow me over on Instagram, which you probably should because I'm actually using it these days, you might have noticed some of these transitions. Maybe not those transitions, but basically the camera gear that I'm using, the camera setups have been changing quite a bit these days. And I finally have like my favorite kit for both photo and video. So I want to break down the gear that I'm using, why I'm using it, and some alternative gear that I still highly recommend, maybe at some different budgets. Now, two little disclaimers. So first of all, this kit is more specifically my recommendation for hybrid users. And what I mean by that is that you typically need to shoot both photos and videos on a single camera. Now, if you can separate it out, so if you have one camera for photo and one camera for video, I'll give you some recommendations for that as well coming up. And the second is that this is gear that I personally use and recommend, but this doesn't mean it's the only gear that does the job. I shoot with other cameras all the time, depending on the type of project and thing that I'm shooting. So if you have something else, don't like rush to upgrade or anything like that. But I do find that this kit just gives me a few advantages that make things better and easier in most shoots, especially when I need to shoot hybrid and in kind of a run and gun, very portable, easy to use type of shoot. Now for me, I do have a couple of non-negotiables, and yours might be a little bit different, but mine, the first is actually a flip screen. And the reason is not for video, although I do like it for video. It's actually for photos, and because I shoot cars and I'm constantly shooting either low to the ground or above my head, and I'm shooting vertically a lot. And so if you don't want to be lying on the floor to take that shot, you're gonna need a flip screen. And also for the photo side, really I just need a printable resolution. I find that's about 24 megapixels ideally. And for video, I do need 4K 60 full frame because most of my shots that don't have someone talking in them are gonna be shot in 4K 60. And I need to be able to shoot wide angle quite a bit, so I need that 4K 60 full frame. And the last thing that's really important to me is gonna be autofocus, because so much of what I shoot is gonna be kind of run and gun. Autofocus is just really massive in those kind of situations, and I need it to be as reliable as possible because I might not have two chances at a shot, and I don't have anyone monitoring a feed for these kinds of shoots to make sure that I got it right. So let's talk cameras, and this is going to be the most polarizing part of the video, but I'm going to attempt to do this without pissing anyone off. So just let me know if it works. But right now, my recommendation is going to be the Canon R6 II, and that's going to be this camera right here. And hands down, for a hybrid camera, you really can't get any better right now, and that's because it just does everything well. And sure, you can nitpick a few aspects of it, especially for video, like it has a micro HDMI port, and I do all of that in my full review. So if you want to buy this camera, definitely check that out. But everything I need a camera to do, the R6 II can actually do it. And there's actually a few things that it does better than other cameras. So it shoots 12 frames per second mechanical, which is great. It's 40 frames per second in electronic shutter. But actually the shutter on this is super quiet. Like you can barely even hear it, even in mechanical. The screen on it is super bright. The colors are just really easy to edit, which makes my job in post a whole lot easier. And it's not insanely expensive. It's $2,500. Now, what's interesting is that the Canon R5, the big brother, actually meets my requirements, but the quality on 4K 60 is actually going to be better in the R6 II. So I actually use that more. Now, before all the hate mail starts, which usually happens after I say something like that, there are a lot of other good cameras out there. Mainly the issue for me rolls around with the full frame 4K 60. That's been an issue for a lot of cameras. So the Panasonic S5 II, another great camera. It doesn't shoot full frame 4K 60. The Sony a7 IV and the Sony a7R5 also have crops to it. Sony A1 doesn't have the flip screen, which I actually have that camera and I would use it more if it did. Fujifilm, also a great camera manufacturer, but all of their cameras are going to have a crop. So they're all great cameras. They just don't meet my dream specs for a hybrid camera, and the R6 II does. Now, what's interesting is that Nikon just dropped the Z8. I shoot with it a lot, actually. It's an insane camera. It actually blows away my requirements. So I'm testing it now because I think when it comes to like raw specs and hardware, it's the best camera in the world as of today. Now, if you can actually have two cameras, so one for photo and one for video, and you don't mind if maybe your photo camera isn't quite as good at video as the video camera, I do have some different recommendations, so I'll be covering that in the next video. So hit me up in the comments if that's you and you would like to see it. Now, another thing I've actually had in my bag for the last few weeks is these. These are the new Soundcore Liberty 4 NCs. They're literally just getting announced right now, and they're sponsoring today's video. I've actually had a few different earbuds over the past couple of years, and just nothing has come close to the quality of these, especially at this price. So I showed these to my wife when they first came in. Literally like 10 seconds later, she had given her headphones to my kids, keeping the Liberty 4s for herself, especially because there's actually a few different color options on these. So first of all, like multi-device support, it's insane. I had it connected to my phone, which is an Android phone, and my Apple MacBook at the same time, and I could seamlessly go from just playing music on my phone to monitoring a video up on YouTube without having to do anything, and it was pairing in seconds. Also, the noise reduction on these, it's just on another level. So Anker claims it is a 98.5% noise reduction. I believe it. Plus, they have real-time adaptive noise reduction that creates a new sound filter curve every time you use them. And that's all based on your ear and the environment that you're in. Now, the case itself, it's really awesome. It has magnets that hold everything closed, but then there's this button on the front. You just click it and it pops everything open. And the headphones themselves are actually also magnetic, and they lock into the case. You don't even need to line these up. Like literally you just throw them into the case and they lock in. It's so easy for them to snap in. You do have USB-C charging, wireless charging as well. Insane battery life. It's actually up to 10 hours on a single charge of the headphones, or 50 with the case. And I am telling you, the sound quality on these is stunning. There was just so much more bass response than I expected. You can literally control everything on this. You can even do this sound test, which reminded me of like eye control tests for glasses. They play these tones and you select which one sounds better and where you can hear it. And they generate this custom EQ curve based on your ear. So check these out. They're actually being announced right now. So I have a link in the description where you can check these out. Plus, Anker has been a supporter of the channel for a while now, so I appreciate them for sponsoring this video. Definitely go check these out. Now for lenses, this is not a strength for Canon right here. I will admit, Sony by far has the best native lens selection, and Canon definitely needs to allow third-party support for their lenses. It's really needed, but pretty much everything that I need, Canon so far has a lens for, and the quality of these lenses is actually really, really good. Plus, they do have stabilization in most of their lenses, which helps. So typically, I am using a wide angle, so the 15-35 f2.8. They also have a 14-35 f4, which looks amazing, and a 16mm prime for like $250. If you need something cheap for the wide angle, they do have it. Also, I tend to use a 24-70 a lot, or the 24-105 is a cheaper option right here. This is f4. Again, all of this is stabilized. Even the 24-70 is stabilized. And I use a 50mm. This is like my money lens right here. This 51.2, it's just absolutely stunning. And then occasionally I use a 70-200, not so much for like the run and gun type stuff, but this is also a big lens. They have this in an f2.8 and an f4, and these are just so small. This is the f2.8 lens, and all of these are great. Plus, the nice thing is that like the 15-35, 14-35, those are both wider than your standard 16-35. Plus, you can use screw-on filters, and that's very important for me. Now, for my filters, I actually just upgraded to the Polar Pro Recon system, and I'm really in love with this system because if you're shooting photos, I actually use this one. This is the CP filter. I love circular polarizers, especially for cars, and this is a base system. So basically, you can start with either a CP filter or a VND filter, And I'll typically use like the CP for photos and the VND for video. However, what's really cool is that you can snap in these inserts. So this one is a mist filter, but if you're using the CP filter, you can snap in ND filters and get both ND and CPL in the same filter. And plus, it just makes it so easy to go between photo and video with one filter system. And they do have this matte box system. So if you want to look like a pro person with all of these matte box setups, and it's actually really helpful in a couple of situations for blocking out light. But I really love that system. But actually, I do have a full breakdown of all of my gear in the description, so check that out. Not everything is in this video to hopefully keep it from being an hour long, but there is some important stuff that will be in this video. So most of you guys know I do use a gimbal like crazy. For me, the DJI RS3 series has by far been the best for me. The standard RS3 will actually work with the R6 II and even some of these heavier lenses. I use the RS3 Pro a little bit more. I also have this kind of Tilta system right here, which gives me a dual handle support. I actually just added that system and I love it a lot. I do find that DJI lacks when it comes to vertical shooting. So either you'll need to put your camera in a cage and then mount it vertically, but the vertical shooting options on the gimbal itself are just not that great. I do have a video coming out on a brand new gimbal that's made by Zhiyun. It's the Weeble 3S, and it's actually very good for native vertical support. So if you find that pretty much all of your stuff is vertical, definitely check that one out as well. Now, drones are also massive for me. I use them for basically everything. I use them for BTS, cars, boats, travel like crazy. It's probably my second most used camera system, and I usually integrate it at some point into basically all my videos. My go-to for these are going to be the DJI Mavic 3 and the Mini 3. And basically, the Mavic 3 is going to be all about quality. You can get it decked out with up to 3 cameras now, and it is going to be just the best quality drone that you can get. Has a ton of features in it, and it's really great combined with these setups, and you can put out a whole video just with the drones. It's that good quality. The Mini 3 for me is when I need to fly below the radar. So it's lightweight, it doesn't attract a lot of attention, but it still has some solid features in it and some really good quality video. I actually have some new videos on drones coming out soon, so stay tuned because some big things are on the way with that. Now, action cameras, also really interesting. I do think that everyone should have some of these. I use them for everything from BTS, I use them for time lapses, I use them for like first person views, mount them to my chest. I also use them occasionally for action camera stuff. I mount them on cars and do things like that with them. I bounce between the DJI Action and the GoPro 11, but for the most part, I use this GoPro a little bit more. For me, the DJI, it's more convenient with like a bunch of different mounting options, especially if you want to shoot vertical a lot or go between horizontal and vertical. But the GoPro, it's just a bit better quality and has some more options on it, and the stabilization is better. So I tend to use this one a little bit more. Now, I do have a few other pieces of gear recommended, so I'll link those below, including my entire setup from the Soundcore earbuds to computers and audio and lights and all of that stuff, so check it out. If you think I missed something amazing that should be in this kit, let me know in the comments. I literally will answer every question that you guys have if I can. Hopefully you guys are doing amazing. Some big releases are coming up, so keep an eye out over on IG for the BTS and full reviews coming to the YouTube channel. So stay tuned. I'll see you soon.